Imagine two people, same city, same job, same paycheck. One of them saves, the other can barely make it to the end of the month. And here's the thing, the one who's struggling, they're not spending on luxuries, they're not being reckless, they're just stuck every single month, like there's a leak somewhere they can't find. Most people would look at that and say, it's a discipline problem, it's a mindset problem, they just need to want it more. But what if that explanation is completely wrong? What if poverty doesn't reveal your character? What if it actually changes your brain?
Here's what most of us were taught. Poor people are poor because of bad decisions, and rich people are rich because of good ones. It's clean, it's logical, it feels fair in a kind of brutal way. But in 2013, a group of psychologists and economists ran a study that quietly broke that entire story. They went to a shopping mall in New Jersey and asked regular people, not economists, not experts, just regular people, to think about a financial problem. A car repair, something that costs around $1,500. For wealthy people in the study, no big deal. They thought about it for a second and moved on. But for the people who were already financially stressed, something different happened. Their brain basically went into a tunnel. They couldn't think clearly about anything else. Their performance on unrelated cognitive tests dropped significantly. Like, significantly. We're talking the equivalent of losing a full night's sleep. Or, and this one stings a little, the equivalent of a 13-point drop in IQ just from thinking about money they didn't have. Now here's the part that should stop you cold. The problem wasn't who these people were. The problem was what scarcity was doing to them. Think about your brain like a laptop. Powerful one, capable of editing video, running complex software, doing incredible things, but only when it has enough RAM free. The moment you open too many tabs, everything slows down. The computer isn't broken, it's just overwhelmed. Now imagine someone forced you to keep one tab open, always, every hour of every day. It never closes. It just sits there, running in the background, eating memory, slowing everything else down. That tab is financial stress. Psychologists Sendil Molinoffen and Eldar Shafir, the two behind that study, they called this the bandwidth tax, the mental cost of scarcity. And what they found wasn't just about money. It showed up with time, too. Busy people made worse decisions. Dieters made more impulsive choices later in the day. Scarcity of any kind captures your attention and never lets go. Here's the weird part. It's not that poor people don't think about the future. It's that they can't stop thinking about right now. The rent due on Friday, the phone bill that's already late, the choice between groceries and the electric bill. These aren't small decisions. These are survival calculations, and your brain treats them that way with the same seriousness it would treat a lion walking into the room. And what happens when a lion walks into the room? You don't think about your retirement plan. You think about the lion. But it gets stranger because the tax doesn't just slow you down. It actually changes what you want. There's a concept in psychology called present bias. The idea that humans naturally prefer smaller rewards now over larger rewards later. A bird in the hand and all that. We all have it. But here's the thing. Scarcity amplifies it to an extreme degree. When you're under financial stress, your brain doesn't just prefer the present. It becomes almost incapable of properly weighing the future. The future feels abstract, fuzzy, like a movie you haven't seen yet. But the pain of right now, that's crystal clear, loud, immediate. So what looks like impulsive spending from the outside, buying something small, getting takeout when you should be saving, often isn't impulsive at all. It's relief. It's the one moment in a day full of stress where your brain gets a break, where the lion, just for a second, goes away. Think about it. If you were chronically exhausted and someone said you can sleep for an hour now or get an extra hour of sleep in 3 weeks, what would you choose? The person who's well rested might think about it. The person who's exhausted, they're already asleep. And then, and this is the part that breaks people when they really understand it, the consequences of that decision make the scarcity worse. The cycle tightens. The tab stays open. The bandwidth disappears. It's not a character flaw. It's a trap. And here's who actually built it. Here's something nobody talks about enough. The industries that profit most from financial stress, payday loans, overdraft fees, rent-to-own furniture, lottery tickets. They're not stupid. They know exactly how scarcity rewires the brain. They're not taking advantage of weak-willed people. They're targeting people whose decision-making bandwidth is already maxed out. Payday loans charge what amounts to 400% annual interest, and yet people use them repeatedly, not because they're bad at math. Most people, when given time and calm, can see that it's a terrible deal. But when you need money by Friday and it's Wednesday night and the anxiety is deafening, that 400% number starts to feel like a detail. One study found that the same people who took out payday loans, when surveyed a few months later, not under stress, said they wished they hadn't. They knew it was a bad idea in retrospect, but in the moment, the lion was in the room. And there's a darker layer underneath all of this. The bandwidth tax doesn't just affect decisions. It affects parenting, health, relationships, how present you can be, how patient you can be, every act of self-control, saying no, planning ahead, staying calm, costs cognitive energy. And if your account is already overdrawn, every interaction gets harder. So when someone says poverty is a mindset problem, they're not entirely wrong. It is a mindset problem, but the mindset was caused by the poverty, not the other way around. And once you understand that, the entire conversation about money changes. Here's the good news, and I mean genuinely good news, not the kind that gets pasted on a motivational poster. Once researchers understood that scarcity was the cause, not the symptom, they started testing what happens when you remove it, even temporarily, even partially. In one study, farmers in India were tested on cognitive performance before and after harvest. Before harvest, broke, stressed, season-end anxiety. After harvest, same farmers, paid and calmer. Their cognitive performance improved dramatically. Same people, different circumstances, different brain, which means the solution isn't telling people to think differently. It's reducing the cognitive load first. Create a tiny buffer, even a small emergency fund, and decision-making improves. Automate the savings so the choice doesn't require bandwidth. Design systems that don't require constant vigilance. The richest people in the world don't have more willpower than you. They have more systems, more buffers, more people and structures absorbing decisions so their brain doesn't have to. They've automated away the lion. And honestly, this changes how you should think about yourself too. If you've ever beaten yourself up for a bad financial decision made during a stressful period, maybe extend yourself a little grace. You weren't failing. You were running on fumes. And your brain was doing exactly what evolution designed it to do, survive the moment. So the next time someone tells you that poverty is just a mindset problem, you'll know something they don't. It is a mindset problem, but the mindset is a symptom. Scarcity creates the very cognitive conditions that make escaping scarcity harder. It's not a moral failing. It's a feedback loop, a trap built by circumstances, tightened by stress, and dressed up as a character flaw so we don't have to think too hard about it. The most radical thing this research suggests isn't a savings hack or a budgeting app. It's this: judgment is a luxury, and the people least equipped to handle bad situations are often the ones being judged most harshly for them. And maybe, just maybe, understanding that is the first step to actually changing it. For yourself, or for someone you know who can't seem to get out of their own way. They're not broken. They just need the lion out of the room. All right, that's it for today. I hope you subscribe and like. See you on the next one. Thank you.